Rather than give this theater my name, I would like to give these students my message. So it is with great honor that I unveil the new name of this theater, the Gerard Carmichael Theater. I'm just kidding. I'm totally joking.
So, Dave Chappelle just released a Netflix special. It was rather a sneaky one. Jesus, what the fuck is wrong with you? This little bitch scared me, you goddamn asshole. What's in the Name is the name of the special, and the reason for it is because he performed this at his old school, his former school. A school that wanted to name its theater after Dave Chappelle. But the students, after the closure, they were incredibly mad about that shit. It wasn't administration, it wasn't the school, it was the teenagers and children. You heard that right. Children and teenagers with political opinions about a fucking comedian. We're steering really well into this fucking societal maze here. But again, they're children, we're not gonna blame them. And on top of learning that Dave Chappelle really doesn't like practice.
Practice? My mother said, okay, Dave, it's on you. Now, those of you who know me know that I didn't prepare for that audition.
It must be something about the grace and practice, they don't like it. We also learned the obvious. As obvious as Kevin Spacey liking boys, there was an outrage about this. Because people like to hear, they don't like to listen. Some of them didn't even hear, they just splatter a fucking article on Twitter, and hey, that's probably what the man said. So mainly this comes from the rainbow people. Them taking away our alphabet wasn't enough, they're taking the colors too. It's a joke. It's 2022, I guess I gotta explain that from now on. Hence, the importance of the special. Dave Chappelle is an out-of-touch dinosaur with outdated jokes that don't hold up anymore. Popular opinion. This is not a popular opinion, this is a copy-paste fucking opinion. Which, you should learn the difference. Teens being decent human beings and opposing harassment against an oppressed, vulnerable community. Dave Chappelle, oh my god, how dare you! You instruments of oppression. Like, does it sound like fucking Dave Chappelle? Like, this reminds me of that, like, that bit that he had.
It does not even sound like how I talk. Oh, that's too hot for TV? I would never say that shit.
That doesn't sound like him, and it doesn't. Shit, it doesn't even sound like teenagers saying that shit, you know? Like, why are people picking up these projections or whatever, or speculations? Like, and obviously they point out the article because, you know, they can't possibly research on their own. Dave Chappelle calls teens who oppose transphobic jokes instruments of oppression. Yes, really. Not really. Like, it is so sad that we got this level of journalism, but again, they're not doing anything different than other people, which is, again, hearing but not listening. Let me summarize pretty quickly the important bits about this special, okay? And the thing that you should have learned and took away from that fucking special. There was a moment where Dave Chappelle, he seems like he's gloating. He's saying like, I'm the best of all time and shit like that, and I'll be for a long time.
It will be decades before you ever see someone in my genre as proficient as me. I am maybe a once-in-a-lifetime talent. I am telling you the truth.
I know for a basic fact that people will see that as self-centric, as being a dinosaur full of himself, yada yada yada. And the sad part is that this special that is actually quite good, most won't listen, most won't watch it because it's not outrageous enough. When Dave Chappelle started talking about all that kind of shit, it was coupled with a story of him as he was in the school learning to act because he was advised that to be a good comedian you need to know how to act, and he was doing funny bits. There was this one woman or girl, I don't recall, that advised him to not do the funny bits, to just pursue and express himself artistically beyond what he thought it was possible. And the whole story, and I would think that anyone with 2 brain cells would understand, that whole story wasn't about how good Dave Chappelle is how good you could be if you don't get fucking blocked by people who try to deviate you. Now in this story, this person or this girl or woman, I'm not sure again, I don't remember, but they weren't doing that shit in a malicious way, not like this. They were just thinking, you know, there are paths to take. But Dave Chappelle didn't take those paths. Because right after, he went to a comedy show. He basically booked his first performance, and he fucking killed it.
At an improv class, a teacher named Geraldine Gilstrap told me that I should stop doing funny pieces. That I should try to stretch myself artistically. And maybe I had more in me than comedy. And at the time, I took offense to that. So because she said that, after school that very night, I went to the comedy club, For the first time, I signed the list, and I waited, and I got on, and I killed it. Killed it.
If he followed for once the advice from that girl or woman, we would not have Dave Chappelle, the greatest of all time right now. And most likely, this is what's happening to a lot of people. The whole story with Dave Chappelle was about artistic liberation and expression, the freedom to express your art, unbiased by anyone. That's the sad fucking part, that people do not listen. They come up with these fucking bullshit articles, and this is what it comes down to. Dave Chappelle is someone to hate, not to fucking listen. And another thing that he mentioned, the analogy that I absolutely loved,
that you cannot report on an artist's work and remove artistic nuance from his words. It would be like if you were reading a newspaper and they say, man shot in the face by a 6-foot rabbit, expected to survive. You'd be like, oh my God. And they never tell you it's a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
And that analogy just fucking worked amazingly. We could even go to a broad side of the question and basically define this as like the lack of context that people like so much. It's just a mere fact that when you take these little but very significant details and you try to make, you know, artistic expressions sound like actual fucking opinions, it's awful. Bill Burr is another example. Bill Burr, how many times, even the red pill fucking communities and shit like that, used them because it was an image and a representation, the symbol of anti-marriage and shit like that, because he was, you know, basically clowning on marriages and weddings and all that kind of shit back in his day before he was married. But then, fast forward a few years, this man marries. You know why? Because his fucking act isn't him. Sometimes they play a fucking character. Sometimes they say shit they don't believe. Do you really think Bill Burr wants a fucking full cruise ship to sink and kill half people? Of course not. But that's the funny part of it. It's ridiculous. It's not to be taken seriously. It's like the colors joke that I just made. I don't give a fuck about colors. I wear black all day. Colors are overrated. You can take them. I don't care. And it really, I really felt that shit. That special was really fucking great. Just for the mere fact that it gave me hope that, you know, the school really wanted to name him no matter what, no matter the backlash. And in the end, if you really doubted his integrity, this man just said, you know what, you're not going to name this theater Dave Chappelle, even though he called himself the greatest, right?
This theater should be called the Theater for Artistic Freedom and Expression.
And there was a bunch of other moments. Again, it would be a crime for me to summarize the whole 30 minutes. Like, I can't possibly do that. Summarize the whole 39 minutes of the whole special, which was mostly a one-on-one, quite honestly, with Dave Chappelle. And like you said, it's really sad because, you know, these are kids, teenagers, right? And again, people saying like, oh, the teenagers that are being instruments of oppression. He's not saying this shit as if the teenagers are to blame, because teenagers and children, for the most part, they have no control over their lives. Like, at 15 years of age, you don't even know how to fucking shit. Like, or at least that's the only experience that you have. Alright, you didn't experience any fucking, let's say, major barrier in your life. There's some kids, of course. But at Ellington Art School, do you really believe a lot of them have? And they don't, they're not supposed to have that. Kids are not supposed to have a fucking hard childhood, right? They're not supposed to become political very soon or very early. They're not supposed to be talking about any of this fucking shenanigans. They should learn, and learn as much, but opinions, you have plenty, you have a whole lifetime of opinions. But again, I'm not gonna blame these children, these teenagers, and Dave Chappelle himself understood that. It wasn't them, it was the fucking parents who, in a very disgusting way, they weaponize their children for their, I guess, political biases or just mere butthurt fucking opinions. And I don't have to explain how bad that is. So please, if you do decide, you know what, I'm gonna give him a chance, listen carefully. If you're watching this video before watching the special, listen carefully, okay? This is not about you being wrong, about him being right. It's about you realizing, what does he want? What is this whole, like, this whole personality of his about? Is it about hurting people, really? Or is it really about just allowing the most that he possibly, like, the biggest number of people that he can possibly help when it comes to artistic expression, to a career in comedy, in acting, in singing, whatever, you know, writing in any way? That's what it's all about. And when you people get fucking mad at someone cracking jokes and they're like, oh, those are opinions. Like, you don't dictate what's a fucking opinion. I could literally lie my whole ass, right? On fucking stage, and it wouldn't be a reflection of me. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you like to see our videos, and I'll see you next time.